Alright, so Creative Assembly, name's Sky, and one other idea for day-to-day turns and other, or adding more strategic units is if you threw in things like uh, supply wagons and messenger horses. And here's kind of some illustration of what I'm talking about. Because you see, day-by-day turns, construction, in the old style is money with time, but you're neglecting the idea that it's manpower. So the more manpower you have, maybe the more money, but the less time required. So that's where I'm really thinking. That's also where construction accidents come in. So if you're really pushing construction, the more accidents that can increase, which can have a negative effect on the ruler. But the thing is to realize is that whenever all the landscape is it's the resource which needs to get to a road, which needs to get to the city or the sea. So in this case, this land's not important. So this land's not going to be developed because the resources are up here. Here's the road. Here's the sea. And as a result, I don't need to conquer this land. A population does not need to exist in this land. I can later on develop that land, and in fact, if I use or what I'm thinking is, give me the ability to set up a governorship, so that can be like one of the ways to expand that aspect of the gameplay. But so it's a governorship, and established out of the capital. These 4 parcels of land are now under the control of this, which has the capital building. So that's going to have a certain buff and influence to the development of these 4 pieces of land. So as a result, a civilization develops there right away. Doesn't need a military because I got military elsewhere. But it's just able to thrive and get all its resources right away, and also get a road. But it's only going to really be effective as long as this power center and this power center and this power center exists, or like these focal points of resources. But so one of the ways I'm thinking of expanding that is with, or expanding how that will all work is, you have a supply wagon, and essentially what a supply wagon does is it creates a sphere of influence or a sphere of effect that if you put it between these 2 communities, travel between these 2 communities increases, resources flow quicker to this community because you have that supply wagon. That means the amount of time it takes to build goes down as long as that supply wagon is there. It's just a strategic unit, which can be destroyed by assassins. So, and that's so you can also think, since a population requires resources, and I mentioned earlier about the army of workers, you can use an army, guys with weapons to build stuff, which works as well, or you can use an army of workers. It's just that you have to protect the workers because they don't have any weapons. I'm also thinking get another strategic unit like a wise man or an engineer, and that way you can also specialize those engineers in certain projects, so that develops one traits or retinue. But also you can say, hey, I need you to basically be my pontoon guy. So if you attach an engineer to an army, when this guy started out here and started conquering, rather than have to, wait, or rather than being stopped by the river, he could have crossed the river because he had that engineer with him who could have created a means to do that. But that could also be a skill thing. So that's something else to explore. But supply wagon, right here, connecting these 2 communities, expands the resources, makes it so that that community can grow and develop quicker. Same with that. And it also helps with supplying the army. So let's say I'm getting ready to start out here and I'm ready to conquer West. I want to have a bunch of supply wagons backing me up, because if I take my army west and we have the new element that whatever injuries my army sustains, I can replenish in the field. I don't have to take the army out then take it back to get it fixed, because that just slows me down, and it's not historically accurate too much. But now supply wagons, so I drag the supply wagons out with me. Now, on top of that, instead of me having to micromanage moving the supply wagons around, I say, hey, I want there to be a supply wagon master, and that guy's going to dictate what's going on. So that wagon master is going to say, okay, we have stuff going on here. The big guy is expanding out. Oh, I now have authority to recruit. Okay, so he's conquered all the way out to here. Now he's going north. So I'm going to add another supply wagon. All right, the master, the big guy, keeps expanding and expanding. So I need to keep, adding supply wagons as this guy moves out. And as a result, each land is connected and benefits, as long as I have the money to support these supply wagons. And this is going to be this. I'm also thinking that if these connect, it expands the sphere of influence of that supply wagon. All the land that's under the influence of the supply wagon benefits, and as a result is more productive as well. So there is that secondary benefit to not just supplying the towns, but also supplying the population, the expanded population. Now, and I can tell the AI, say, look, either create a network or just follow the campaign in general. Wherever this guy goes, that's where I want the supply wagons to go. Or do both, or just set up a supply network. So I'm conquering, a supply network will just be created automatically, connecting all the communities. Do the same thing with a Pony Express messenger service. So think of like a spy network, but this time it's more about information. So it expands the sphere, the sphere of sight that is seen, and also I would say as a result increases the range of movement of your army. So if there's a sphere of influence for the messenger or the horse messenger, if the army is within that, the army can thus move quicker because it knows the terrain and the weather and this and that. So if weather was involved, oh, that'd be awesome. But anyways, so that's like a couple of my different ideas. I hope that makes sense. If this guy is conquering, as long as he has a supply wagon, he can get supplied. And then if he has a messenger horse strategic unit with him, they can do more. And then you throw in pontoon strategic unit. So now, whenever the army comes up to a stream, they can just cross. They don't have to look for a river or a ford or a ridge. That's what I'm thinking. Creative assembly. What else? That's a lot of different ideas.